Hello, friends. Welcome to the Quaker Stitch, a podcast for any and everything about modern American friendship. We're your co hosts, Southgate,
And Salazar,
and today we're coming to you with field notes from Atlanta, Georgia.
where we've just attended this first day, the 23rd of June, my first time at the Atlanta Friends meeting.
And my second time at the Atlanta Friends meeting.
What was the first time you came to Atlanta Friends? Because you're from Atlanta, but you weren't a friend here ever.
No, so I visited first in 2019. It was lovely. It was like the weekend after Christmas. So when I visited, I was borrowing my brother's car. It was great. We go to the meeting, come out. My car battery died. And this very nice young couple with their son helped me find someone with a car compatible to do a jump
because it's a Quaker meeting and everyone's driving a Prius.
and then actually help me do the jump because I hadn't done a jump by myself before. And their son was kind of toddling around, being like, "Ooh, cars, excitement!" Lovely experience. So I went back home, and then I didn't make it back. I thought I would make it back, but then 2020 happened. So today we visited again for the second time.
Yeah, and we were actually a little bit late. We were about half an hour late. I think we got there at like 10:25. They go from 10 to 11. My general rule is that if I can make it half or more of meeting, I'll go. So if I'm 10 minutes late, 20 minutes late, if I'll be 25 minutes late, I'll still go. But if I'll be 35 minutes late, usually I won't go in that case. But it actually helped a lot because I was able to sit for much easier the half hour. And also, it's much easier to get centered. Even though you only get half an hour of worship, it's better to catch the latter half, in my opinion, because once everyone else is centered, it's much easier for you to get centered. And it does cause a little bit of a disruption, but I don't know, kids come in late often out of first day school, so I find that if you can get over the awkwardness of a few moments of silent rustling of your pants and your bags, it's still worth it to go in, even half an hour late.
Yeah, and I think they do a really good job of like being welcoming about like arriving to meeting when you get there.
There was a greeter when I got there.
Yeah.
When you got there too?
Mm-hmm.
By the time I came out of the bathroom, because I had to go to the bathroom right away, by the time I came out of the bathroom, I think the greeter had just gone indoors.
Okay. Yeah, so when I got there, the greeter was still there. He was like, "Hi, have you visited before?" They had like a wall of name tags, and it's really easy to ask for one. But like you pick up your name tag, and then they have like little announcements. That's usually where the greeter is. So then going in was really helpful because they had signs being like, "Okay, if someone's giving a message, wait till the end of the message to go in, but otherwise, please enter like during silence." But I felt like it was a really good like welcome in to the meeting.
And when I came in, right before I came in, I was watching they have a cute little like alcove, like a double door that you can come in through the sides when they close the main doors. But I could see through the crack, I think it was Clive giving a message. So I waited. There's a sign out there that says like, wait, if someone's giving a message, wait till they're done. And I waited a little bit extra too before you come in. And he was giving, I think, a message just about what Quaker meeting meant to him or what it was that we were doing. That seemed to be a theme. So then we had meeting. There was a couple of other messages, and then during the time when it's at the very end of the meeting, where they asked for announcement and joys and sorrows, although they did joys, announcements, and holding in the light requests. So when the holding in the light request came, someone just sort of introduced the concept, asked for a specific group, a couple of other people with a little bit of silence, although not as much as between messages, said whoever they wanted you to hold in the light, their families, certain groups around the world, family members. And when it kind of came around to our section, chased it up, and what did you say?
I said, please hold in the light Flushing monthly meeting on Friends in New York City as we struggle with racial unity and
community stewardship. Yeah, that's what you said. It was really good because it was like a hold in the light request. It was very earnest, but also everyone was like, what? Like there was a perk up.
Yeah.
And then you also recommended a movie. I don't know if you want to recommend it here too.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
So actually, as a part for Joys, so I shared what I did on Juneteenth, which is I went to see this movie called The Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot, which is about this all black town in like deep East Texas, very small town, middle of nowhere, that really, really, as a church congregation, took it upon themselves to adopt every orphan child within 100-mile radius. It was a really beautiful story, and it really speaks to the when God talks, you listen aspect. It comes out on July 4th. You should go see it. Yeah, I want to talk about their closing of meetings. I really liked the way they did closing. It felt really similar to Ann Arbor's meeting.
Mm-hmm. It was much longer. There was a person in charge, and she stood at the center and was like kind of walking around looking at the different parts of the sort of center circle. She had like a whole list to go through.
Yeah. So there was, for the end of the meeting, there were joys, sorrows, well, not sorrows, but holding the light requests, and also introductions for visitors. I think we were the only visitors that stood up and introduced ourselves.
There was one other.
Oh, okay. And oh yeah, because they were visiting from Augusta on Zoom.
Yeah.
And then I stood up and introduced us and just said that, we were visiting from New York and seeking a little bit of support for because we were starting our own meeting.
Yes. And so afterwards, a few people came up to us. We'll talk about them and try to remember their names so we don't forget. And they told us that a lot of their leadership was out of town this particular meeting because of the yearly conference, the yearly meeting regional conference. And so, but a lot of people came up to us and took it upon themselves to take down our information. The first one was Shannon.
Shannon.
Yeah,
Yes.
Shannon. I think Shannon said, I wasn't talking to her first, Chase was, but then they took our emails and our Instagram, which is at nyc.quakers.
Yep. And then we spoke to their friend in residence, Anton Flores.
Flores. Yeah, that was really cool. He's from New York, so he came up to talk to us. He moved away when he was 10. He lived in Flushing in the 70s, I think.
Yeah.
And then he has family in Brooklyn, in Bed-Stuy, and Fort Greene.
Yep. Which
he just recently was there, too, so we talked about that. That was exciting. He's Puerto Rican. He works with, I think, asylum seekers. Spanish speaking, we talked about Portuguese speaking, and some Haitians, French speaking asylum seekers, and he's been a friend in residence for a few years.
Yeah, 5 years, I think. He said it was a 2-year post, and he's on year 5.
Yeah. And then after that, we talked to, what was his name? Bert?
I think Kelly. Bert Kelly.
Bert Kelly?
Yes. And he's on ministry and worship, I believe, for Atlanta Friends. And he gave us a bit of advice, sort of procedural stuff about membership, how it works.
What we would have to do to get to a point where we could ask someone who wasn't in New York, because we kind of explained our situation a little bit. Story for another podcast. And yeah, it was really cool because he was like, oh, if you have a connection with this meeting, and we talked about sort of like the different meetings we have a connection with, and he offered up his own, but he also said, like, if you guys come regularly on Zoom or find another meeting that you're close to go to on Zoom, or to just sort of visit as much as possible, you can build up to a relationship with a meeting enough that you can apply for membership or have your meeting under their care, even if it's in a different state.
Exactly. And he really pointed out who else we should talk to that was on ministry and worship. We were asking not so much for our actual meeting, but for, a marriage committee, which we never got.
We would like to have. So we do want to build a relationship with Atlanta Friends, especially because, your family's here, Chase.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we'll try. I think we're going to try to attend. And then after that, you spoke with Clive. I don't know what you guys said.
So I spoke with Clive, sort of more generally about seeking a little bit of mentorship or guidance in starting a meeting, really being able to form that sort of spiritual community in place. So we chatted a little bit about that, and he was talking about how that was something he would like to do whenever and if he goes back to Jamaica, sort of forming a spiritual community that is strong and is kind of the I basically explained to him that the Atlanta Friends meeting was the type of meeting that we were interested in building, and that's really why we were okay, seeking ministry with them.
Yeah, and then there was a couple of other people who talked to us, but whose names I forgot. But basically, a similar vein. Everyone is as always shocked that no one would marry us.
Yes.
Yeah, we were thinking, we spent almost a month here, and we might come back, or maybe just Chase will come back. But we were hoping to, even though we want to continue living and serving New York, we thought maybe we would try to spend our summers here. And actually, Chase has been working for the Friends School summer camp for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, which was actually super fun. So the Atlanta Friends School, like many Friends schools, does summer programming. And since it's open, it's not just kids from Atlanta Friends School. It's kind of kids from many kids from the area. A lot of them know each other. Some will be from the Friends School, or some will be going to camp with their friends that don't go to their same school. So it was a really, really, really fun vibe. It's like summer camp is like as much summer camp for teachers as it is for kids. Like we're all doing fun school.
Tell them about the little kid who was waiting to talk to you all week.
Oh my gosh. So my second week, each week we have like a different like sort of activity. My first week we did Minecraft camp. The second week we did wacky science camp, making slime and little like home volcanoes and all that. And I had this one kid would sidle up to me and like striking up conversation all week. And I was like, interesting, whatever. And then we were talking about our favorite colors, and he goes, "Oh, my favorite color is gray." And I'm like, "Gray?" Like, listen, I've worked with kids for a really long time. I've never gotten gray. And I was like, "Gray? What are you, Quaker?" And it's like, "Wait, Joe, is your family Quaker?" And he goes, "Of course, my whole family is Quaker. Blah, 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 blah. We go to Atlanta Friends meeting." And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. And then he goes, "I think I saw you there one time." And I was like, that was a long time ago. And he was like, "Yeah, I was really small." And I was like, "It was 2019. My car died." And he was like, "Yeah, I remember."
That is so precious that he remembered you from being a toddler as like the man they helped at the friends meeting, the only time you've gone.
Yes. And like it was really clear, like as an adult, like he was clearly trying to like spit this out all week.
Oh, that's so adorable. He wanted to be Quaker friends. He wanted to be friendly friends.
Yeah, it was really sweet and very funny because also all Quakers know each other.
That's
apparently at all ages, like all Quakers know each other.
How old is he?
He's 9.
He's 9.
So he remembered like 5 years later.
Wow. That you left an impression.
Yeah.
The man they helped with the car with the jump.
Yeah.
That's so fun. All right, I think that's it for our field notes for today. That's what happened. Yeah, I felt like I got woken up because I'm on a night schedule in the middle, like at midnight to go to meeting, but it was super rewarding. I'm really glad we went. We got
super midnight meeting.
We got to talk to so many Quakers. I put one of my prints up.
Oh yeah.
So if you see the Otro Mundo es Posible print in Atlanta Friends meeting on like one of their announcement boards, that's me. That's from me.
Well, I think that's all for today, friends. Thank you for joining us on the Quaker Stitch.
Our short first podcast. This is just field notes from some public friends. Join us next time on the Quaker Stitch.